What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today I'm back with a quick white tee road to 225 update. Today is January the 21st. Last night was the presidential inauguration. I'm not going to get into it. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I was celebrating. I was running a victory lap all night last night. Last night was one of the greatest days of my life. Watching everything that unfolded. But today what we're talking about is bodybuilding. I want to give you kind of a brief update on this road to 225 so far because somebody said something in the comments that I really feel like addressing. Sorry, I just woke up. I'm trying to get this done before I get to work. So somebody in the comments of my previous video said, like I mentioned in my previous video that my objective was to get to 225 this year, and that I was at 193 pounds. And somebody, reasonably was like, bro, what? You're gonna gain 37 pounds in a year? That's impossible. Yeah, it probably would be impossible to gain 37 good pounds in a year. What this person didn't understand, and for anybody who happened to be watching that video, who happened to have watched that video, 193 pounds is me in a nearly half-dead state. I had been sick I was sick, and then I got dental implants that basically made me incapable of getting anywhere near the calories that I needed for an extended period of time. Then I got sick again with a stomach bug that my kids brought home from somewhere. And so basically the entire month of December, I was just in a constant deficit. And so I was at 205 before I got sick, and I dropped down to 193. Okay, maybe there was some muscle loss there, but 193 is nowhere near my normal body weight. Normally, when you see me with very peeled abs, very lean all over, like on Instagram, like where I've been hanging out since my last intentional blast is about 205, okay? So 205 is sort of probably what we're gonna be considering the baseline. But admittedly, I have been as big as 218 within the last year. So what seems like this really lofty goal of 225 is really only 7 pounds bigger than I have already achieved in life, okay? So it's not like I'm really having to put on some gigantic amount of tissue. Admittedly, at 218, that was back when I had the really puffy face. I was eating in excess of 600 grams of carbs a day. I was very fluffy, not fat, still 6 visible abs at 218, but I was carrying more weight around my midsection than I would really like. I didn't have the shrink wrapped, really vascular, really grainy detail in my muscles because I was basically very wet. And so 218 is not a good dry weight, and my objective, although admittedly lofty, is to get to 225 pounds relatively dry. I will take 225 with 6 visible abs. I mean, that in and of itself is going to be hard enough. I had to push myself very, very hard to get to 218, and I'm going to have to push myself even harder just for that additional 7 pounds. But to put into perspective what happens to the body when you go into a severe calorie deficit, obviously competitive bodybuilders know this. You guys who are like me, who don't compete, who are lifestyle bodybuilders, maybe you don't know. So I'm gonna go over a couple of quick details with you in this video to kind of form the basis of getting back to a good starting point for the 2025 road to 225 cycle that I'm gonna be on. So I would also like to say that the mood that I have had over the last few days relative to before I decided to go back to bulking has been night and day. My wife literally admittedly last night was a good day for me because of Trump. But my wife has said over the past few days, she's like, I don't even know what to do with you. Like how you can just go from literally being as far into the toilet in this complete state of misery and depression and anhedonia and total inability to get any pleasure, and just the mere decision to go back to bulking changed everything. Okay, so it can't really be just a drug addiction. Clearly it's an addiction to growing. Clearly it's an addiction to bodybuilding or something, but I haven't increased my doses yet. I haven't even gone up on my gear yet. So in order for me to feel substantial, for my mental well-being to be so elevated, I think we're 3 days in. I started on the 19th, today's 21st. So in order for my mood to be so massively elevated, just from the decision to go back to bulking clearly indicates that this is not just a drug addict type of thing. It may be an addict thing, but it's clearly not the roids. Like I said, 600 milligrams of roids should be plenty for anyone to stave off any kind of withdrawal or low feeling you might get. I mean, that doesn't even logically follow. So where were we at? So when I made that video, the day that I made the video saying that I was coming back, that I was going back on black, I think it was the day after actually. I think I made that video at night. And the following morning, I started tracking my progress, went to the gym. So on January the 19th, I woke up, that was a Sunday, that may have been the day I made the video. It's irrelevant. I woke up at 193 pounds in the AM. And then I immediately started going back to my old school, I just went back to what I know to do. I took a little MK, I got a better breakfast, I started primarily pumping fluids and carbs. That's what I've been doing over the past few days. Yes, I've been focusing on getting my calories up for sure. I've been focusing on my protein and all of my macros, just like I would at the beginning of any bulking phase. But the key thing that I have been doing is I have been trying to get my muscles to reinflate. That is basically what happens when you stop lifting for a month, you go into a severe calorie deficit. All the water and the glycogen, if you're dehydrated from vomiting, from being sick, your body's gonna pull all of the water, the excess water out, trying to use it to survive. So you're not gonna be in a maximally pumped state. You're not gonna be in a maximally full state. And when you're a guy like me who's carrying a substantial amount of muscle on my frame, like at 205, the percentage of muscle on my frame is very abnormally high. So that muscle is kind of like a sponge. It has the capacity to desiccate and be very, very flat and very unimpressive looking. But in the right situation, the right circumstances, it also happens to act like a sponge and really start sucking up large amounts of water and glycogen and all that kind of thing. Muscles are 70% water, give or take anyway. So when people say, oh, you put on a lot of water weight, that's only a negative when we're talking about extracellular water weight. If you have moon face, if you're all bloated and spilled over on the outside, you can't see your abs because you got a film of water all over you. When you're wet all over and you start losing any kind of detail, that typical D-ball look, the D-ball DECA look when somebody's not managing their estrogen, that's what we're talking about when we're saying, when you talk about the bad water weight, where you just look like a Michelin man. The objective in being in having an aesthetically pleasing body is saturating your muscles with glycogen in the proper amounts of water, and that can really just like revolutionize your physique overnight. Classically, Regan Grimes manipulated this at the Romania Pro one year, where I think he came in at like 264 and he was planning on going open, and his coach just like when they got there, the week they got there, his coach didn't feel good about where his physique was at compared to the other competitors, and so he said, hey man, let's go classic. He had to cut like, I don't know, it was something crazy, like 30 pounds of body weight in 3 or 4 days. That's how much water you are holding on your frame at any given time, even when you're stage ready. He came in ready to get on stage to do the open and still had almost 30 pounds of body water that he could flush out with diuretics and all kinds of things to get on stage and win the classic at the Romania Pro. So when you're in the state that I'm in, and then you go back to normal lifting and eating, it's called the rebound effect. You will rebound back from this this, you know, emaciated, dehydrated, desiccated state that a lot of guys, you know, like that Bumstead looks like on stage, back to something much more normal. So in the AM on 2019, on January the 19th, I woke up at 193 pounds in the AM. I pounded carbs, food, and water. I went to the gym. I hit chest. I had absolutely no energy in the gym, guys. Like, it was just like when I was coming back off when I was hospitalized some time ago. Usually I could work out for an hour and a half minimum, no problems, not even breaking a sweat. 45 minutes into this workout, I was sucking wind. I was just sick, feeling miserable, and it's just because, again, I don't have the calories in my system. I don't have the glycogen stores to lean on. You know, my first couple of exercises were really strong, but then you start flagging when you start running out of juice. And so I got a chest day in. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I got 13 working sets in. Okay, so not bad. But I had to cut the lift short because I just wasn't feeling it. By the end of the day, on day one, I was up to 198.2 pounds in the evening. Okay, so I had a starter weight of 193 in the morning up to 198.2 in the evening. Yesterday in the AM, I woke up at 195.2. So there in one day from AM to AM, I've already come up a total of 2.2 pounds compared to baseline. By the end of the night last night, I did not work out yesterday because of the inauguration, everything that was going on. I had stuff at work, so I didn't go to the gym yesterday. Last night, my weight peaked 200 pounds again. So you got 193 in the morning yesterday, on the 19th. By last night, at the end of the night, I was at 200 pounds. I woke up this morning after flushing my system, urinating, doing all the morning things to get down to my absolute bare minimum morning weight. I was at 199 in the morning this morning. My physique already is starting to look substantially better than it did. So 2 days ago, we have a morning weight of 193, and today we have a morning weight of 199. So 6 pounds of gain, almost certainly all water, glycogen, whatever, 6 pounds of gain in 2 days. So for those of you who are like, oh my God, this is crazy, there's no way he's going to be able to get from 193 to 225 in a year, I put on 6 pounds in 2 days, and this is just the very, very, very beginning. I suspect by the end of the week, I'll be holding 205 minimum. And then as things begin to progress, like I literally could be at the end of 2 weeks back to 210. Okay, so if in 2 weeks' time, arguably I'm back to 210, then we're only 15 pounds off the target weight. We still have 50 weeks left to get there. So if I really stay the course and dedicate myself to this, and I don't become laden down with something at work or something psychological that causes a problem, there really isn't any good reason that I can't reach this goal, assuming that I'm able to eat the calories. The calories will be what makes or breaks this deal. Every time I try to get to push my body weight up, eating over 4,500 calories a day consistently for me is very, very difficult. So I'm going to be hammering the MK. I might have to add GHRP6. I'm going to have to pull out all the stops to try to get the calories in, because that will be the name of the game on this bulk. But I just wanted to make this quick video to kind of put this into perspective. After I make this claim that I'm going to go to 193 to 225, already I'm at 200 pounds in the morning. Okay, so right now morning weight, we're already 25 pounds from goal weight, and I suspect I'll be probably 205 by tonight. So that's how quickly things can change when you start back on your real program. The thing that's been already extremely inspiring is, like I said in my video the other day, that being down to 193, one of the things that had me so depressed was that I was expecting my abs to look a lot better than they did. You know, like I'm lighter than I've ever been. I would expect that if I was going to go on stage, I wouldn't need to get down to 193 to get there. So how could I possibly be weighing less than stage weight and look nowhere near stage ready? Well, the second that I started eating and training, it's like all of a sudden, water that was just sitting on my abdomen, it seems to have just absorbed into my upper body. My abs already look tighter and cleaner, and I haven't done anything to change that. So clearly there's something going on in the body with the way that where water sits, where fat sits, how things hang out from a pumped, trained, in the gym state to a I've been laying in bed, sick and healing and eating like crap state. Obviously something's going on. I don't fully understand it, but that's the case. And so that's really inspiring to me, because I suspect by the end of the week, my abs are going to be looking phenomenal, and the pump on my upper body relative to my tinier waist is going to look great. When I went in the gym after chest day the other day, it was like, wow, like, man, with the pump on my pecs and my tiny little waist that's getting sucked up. I mean, I'm back in my 32 jeans and they're falling off of me. So I've lost a lot of weight in my quads and my glutes. A lot of it has not actually been upper body weight. I don't know why I lose it down there so easily, but I do. So that's where we're at. Just want to give you that quick update that ended up being a little bit longer than necessary. You may or may not see some content coming out from me tonight. I haven't decided. I'm so virulent over this Trump situation. I don't want to get myself in trouble with talking too crazy, but I think that the days and weeks to come are going to be every bit as exciting as they were last night. So for those of you who are about that, stay tuned, because it's only going to get better from here on out. But anyway, there you go. That's the update. So we're back to 200 pounds in the morning, on the road to 225 by the end of 225. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.